Welcome to Thursday's Daily Spread. It is March 23rd, and let's do this. Welcome. I'm Chris Ross. As I said, this is the Daily Spread brought to you by LandGrantGauntlet.com. Check us out. You can follow us on Twitter at @the_LGG, so give us a follow there. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. That helps us out. We love that. Okay, a little bit of news today. Actually, a few things. Nothing too terribly groundbreaking, but it's some good stuff today. Okay. First up, kind of an alarming scene there in Lubbock yesterday evening, about around 5 p.m. Central Time. A fire broke out at the practice facility, which is there next to the stadium or part of the stadium, and it looked pretty serious. I mean, the smoke is, it totally engulfed the stadium there, and it could be seen for a pretty good ways. It looked, pretty bad, but thankfully, I guess it just wasn't. It was kind of they classified it a small fire, even though it doesn't look very small, but the damage was fairly minimal. No one was hurt. They're kind of assessing some of that damage today, but it was a construction scene, so not as bad as it could have been, not nearly as bad as it looked, but just kind of a scary moment there, especially for those that have friends and family around the area, on campus there. Kind of created some traffic problems, but that's about it from what I've seen. Next up, Joel Lanning at Iowa State. We saw him last season take the field as the Cyclone starting quarterback to start the 2016 season. He got passed up for Jacob Park. It looks like it's Jacob Park's job to lose at this point. And so Lanning is looking for a new role. He's just too good of a talent, too much of just a football talent, a football guy, to leave on the sidelines. So they look for a new role for him. It looks like he's going to be middle linebacker, and he may start at the position. I don't know if that's a done deal yet, but the coaches kind of indicate that they're really high on him, and that right now he's the most consistent of the guys they have at that position. Some high praise there. That's on the website. Definitely check that out. We'll have it linked afterwards. But kind of cool. I put it on Twitter. Actually, I'm going to pull this up. I thought about doing this yesterday. And I kind of put it out there. I could not think of, yesterday when I wrote the article, I could not think of another quarterback that transitioned to linebacker, because that's just two entirely one role. I mean, you put a shirt on the guy during practice to make sure he doesn't get hit. In the other role, you want just whatever. You just want a guy back there that all he wants to do is hit. He just wants to spear somebody and get physical and get after it. And so kind of a opposite roles there. But we put it out because I couldn't think of anything. But a couple of great examples were made. If I had been doing this right, I would have pulled this up ahead of time, but so now I just have to go back through everything. Let me pull this up here. Oh yeah. So if I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry, but it's at Dana Laner, along with Grant Tommy, who as kind of a guest here at the LGG, he a K-State guy. They pointed out Justin Tuggle from Oklahoma State. He was a backup quarterback. I don't think he played, but he did transition and then start at linebacker. So that definitely qualifies. And then Travis Gertie, I believe is how you pronounce it. He pointed out Donovan Woods at Oklahoma State. Yes, he played both quarterback and I believe maybe even All-American at linebacker. So he definitely made the transition as well. And then, of course, there were a couple other guys that, they played quarterback in high school, and then they came in at linebacker. And that's not really the same thing, because a lot of high school recruits, they play quarterback. It's just a talent. When you're in high school, a coach is going to play the most talented guy at the most needed position. And so that a lot of times that's, quarterback, running back, receiver, and those guys end up playing a different role once they come into college and kind of fill a different need based on their body type and that kind of thing. Okay, and their skill set, obviously. But those guys pointed out great examples. So Justin Tuggle, Donovan Woods, great examples there. Wanted to point that out and give those guys a shout out. If you guys think of anybody else, definitely leave a comment in the comments below, on the video, on the site. We have Discus up and working now, so that's been fixed and very happy about that. So check that out. All right, now a little bit of news I really don't like getting into, but you know, it's news and so we have to talk about it. And where was it? Oh, former Baylor player Trayvon Armstead was arrested yet again. He was just arrested like 10 days ago in Vegas for pushing a girl in front of a hotel, and then he proceeded to resist arrest and kicked out a cop car window. It was a big ordeal. The dude just seems like he doesn't have it together. He's all kinds of lost, and now he's been arrested again. He got arrested yesterday, or it was reported that he was arrested yesterday on a warrant for sexual assault in McLennan County, which is, you know, Waco, where Baylor is. I don't know. I mean, he was kicked off the team. He's one of the guys that him and Brandon Chatmon were one of the guys that everybody heard the story where Baylor didn't investigate the sexual assault for 2 years, right? Well, when they did investigate it, Brandon Chatmon ended up, you know, kind of turning on Armstead and kind of admitted that yes, they did have, you know, sexual relations with this female, but they still maintain it was consensual. Well, Baylor came, you know, 2 years after the fact, the school, I don't know what you want the school to prove, but they came out and said that they couldn't prove the sexual assault, but what they could say is that she was definitely too inebriated to give consent. She was beyond what was legally acceptable, and so for that reason they dismissed him from the school. Well, since it looks like he has not gone down a very good path and faces massive legal issues at this point. Talking about the Baylor scandal, what started it all, the Sam Ukwachu case, where 2 years ago, you know, we're all kind of doing our thing, and all of a sudden it gets reported that Sam Ukwachu is convicted of rape and will be sentenced, you know, here shortly. And everybody's like, wait, hold up. What? Like, no one even knew that that this was a thing. No one knew. It was never reported in the press, in the media, that like he was even on trial for this, or that this incident allegedly happened. And it brought in a whole host of issues of what did Baylor know, which led up to all the reports from, you know, like ESPN and some of the Texas media there, and the Waco Tribune, and you know, they've done a fantastic job covering this. If you guys have never checked out the Waco Tribune, I mean, definitely give them a look. They're fantastic at covering everything they have so far, and with pretty fairly, I might add. But it was the case that started it all. At that point, that's when everybody started looking into Art Briles and into Baylor. What did they know? What didn't they know? And then it came out that this dude had a past at Boise State, where he got in an argument with his girlfriend and drunkenly broke out a window with a beer bottle. And, you know, the school administration might have had some concerns about this player. But anyway, he transferred to Baylor, and everybody questioned, you know, why did Art Briles do that? And however, that case, the case that started everything, has now been overturned. It was reported this morning that an appeals court overturned Ukwachu's conviction. He had a witness. His roommate testified on his behalf, and during the original trial, and the prosecution argued that the roommate's lying because he couldn't have been there. His cell phone records show that he was someplace else at that time. And so he's clearly lying. And that led or helped lead to Ukwachu's conviction. Well, in the appeals court, it came out that the defense argued that, timeout, these phone records aren't in Central Time, which is what everybody was talking about in the trial. They are 6 hours ahead for unknown reasons, but they are. They were 6 hours ahead, so the times were completely different on the report of what they should have been, and it was just kind of misinterpreted. And so anyway, that was enough evidence for the appeals court to send it back for retrial. What's going to happen there, I don't know. I guess I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend. But I would guess that at that point the prosecution can decide whether or not they're going to retry it. I don't know if they absolutely have to, if they don't feel like they have the evidence. But so I guess there's a chance that this could just be, they could just walk away from it, or that they'll retry it and then that will be at a later date. But anyway, it's kind of a development to pay attention to. It's not to say he's innocent or guilty. I guess that's still undetermined. But there's enough evidence to say that some stuff during the trial wasn't properly accounted for. Okay, I don't want to end the show on that, so I made sure to put that in the middle because I just don't want to end on that note. It's so weird having to talk about that because we've talked about a lot the last 2 years, sexual assault and scandals and stuff, and it's just not what we thought we would be covering. So anyway, moving on. To close the show, today West Virginia picked up a JUCO transfer to help in the 2017 class, so that would be some immediate help from them. Cornerback, so that's good for him. Let me get this guy's name because it's a 3-star guy. And Fontez Davis, and I think he's out of is it Butler? I'm going off of memory here, so obviously I was very prepared for the show today. Yes, Butler. He's out of Butler, and so that's really good for West Virginia to get some depth there. Hopefully he can provide some immediate help, and they'll be able to get a look at him and kind of assess him. I guess more in the fall, obviously, at this point. But with Patrick Mayhorn, our recruiting director, he has his profile up there. He has his huddle video on the site, so definitely go check that out. His highlights are pretty good. He's 6'1" guy, 175 pounds, so he might, need to put on a little weight, but for a 6'1" guy to play that position. But definitely a good get there for the Mountaineers. And to close the news today, some scheduling news. In 2024, Iowa State will play North Dakota because that's the matchup we've all been waiting for. Who cares? It's North Dakota, and not the good one. It's not North Dakota State, the Bison that were featured on, ESPN Game Day, the team that beat Iowa State in 2014. No, this is the other North Dakota. What are they? They're the something Hawks, I think. What? Not the Bison. I know that. All right. They are the Fighting Hawks. That's what it is. So, a matchup everybody's, not going to look forward to. But, so that kind of leaves, Iowa State has the 2024 schedule kind of already put together. They're playing, who else did they already have on the schedule? Let me look here. Again, obviously very prepared for today's show. Who is it that they're playing? Arkansas State. There it is. They're playing Arkansas. So they have Arkansas State scheduled for 2024. Now they have North Dakota. They don't have that third spot filled yet, but according, by Big 12 rules, it's got to be another Power 5 school. I'm going to bet that that's going to be Iowa. They've played Iowa like every year since as far back as I could scroll, and Iowa's on the schedule all the way up until 2024, so if I had my guess, it's going to be Iowa. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. So their schedule's pretty much done. I guess that's a good schedule for them. Hopefully, in 7 years, Matt Kimball has his team beyond what they are now, and so hopefully they're not risking $500,000 to be embarrassed on national TV, because that would be yet again. Okay, some other news. It came out right as I went on live. Another scheduling thing. Texas Tech. It looks like they've signed a deal with Abilene Christian. Another barn burner there. For 2024 and 2026. So a 2-year deal there. Like I said, that just came out. I don't really have any more information than that. I haven't looked at their non-conference schedule yet, and I'm not sure of kind of what the details of that deal are, what Texas Tech will be paying them to come in. I'm assuming both games will be at home. I'm assuming it's not a home and home with Abilene Christian because, my God, why would Tech go there? Okay, other than that, that'll wrap up today's show. Like I said, follow us on the LGG _ or that was completely backwards. Ignore all of that. If I had an edit feature, that would be gone. But we're live and I don't. So it's at the _ LGG. Follow us on Facebook. You know, if you're watching this on Twitter, I can't think today, on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Help us out. And I am just going to hop off because I am butchering today's show. So I will see you tomorrow for Friday and try to be more prepared. Thanks. Bye.